Thank you so much, Professor, for organizing this meeting and for inviting us for this every year. Very kind of you. And uh, as usual, we are very happy to be associated with SRC Trichy in the various ways that we can interact with the wonderful students of SRC. Thank you so much once again, Professor, for this very nice opportunity. So, as requested by you, we'll take up the subject of ethos and values of Bharata civilization. A very important topic, because when we say the term Bharata, the name of our land, the ancient name of our land, and the civilization that it brings forth in a very deep sense of the word, the manner, etc. So let's look at what the civilization is all about and the ethos and the values, two important aspects. One is the ethos, the other is the values. So we'll look at this for the next half an hour. Okay, thank you. So let's proceed with the slide presentation from Hema.
So when we come to the aspect of ethos, ethics, values, we find that we are always forced to think and make a choice. So ethos and values, there is always an aspect of choice. Should I do this or should I do that? What is correct? What is wrong? And the kind of questions, the choices that we are made to worry about or think about are science or spirituality. What should I follow? Should it be sense? Should I work to sense or sentiment? Should I follow technology or tradition? Should I look at innovation? Should I be innovative enough? Or should I just follow my old customs and tradition and not even worry about any innovation? Should I worry about developing something new or should I just restore something old? Should I worry about progress or is it revival? Should I
work towards
focus on economy or should I focus on ecology? Should we focus on something fashionable, or should we call it culture? Similarly, should we be rational or should we be religion oriented? Realism or idealism? Practicality or philosophy? So many such choices. And here, look at this: ethics or moral. You may think that what is the fundamental difference between ethics or moral? And this is very, very interesting because this has a lot of relevance to the Indian way of living, Bharata civilization's way of life and the value system itself. Because both of them are to do with on the right, the question of right or wrong. Is it right or is it wrong? But when you look at ethics, ethics is something to decide right or wrong based on some set rule, prescribed ways, either documented or set. It's a methodology. So some framework that has been set. Whereas moral has an aspect of what is for you, what you feel. So
right.
Internally, what you feel is right or wrong. And which is very, very personalized, very individual, very circumstantial. So there is an aspect of topical, contextual, everything in moral, whereas in ethics, it is more black and white, it is hard-coded. So that is a fundamental, while both focus on right or wrong. Similarly, should it be current or legacy? Which should you choose? It all comes down to black or white. Is it this or that? And what we will find.
So we have questions like this, and all these questions give us an idea of A or B, A or B, or B or A. But the reality is, if you see, it's actually not this or that, as seen in certain thought processes. Whereas the Bharata civilization thought is, it is a judicious blend of all this, each of this. That is the beauty of it. It is not either or. It is not the concept of being exclusive. That is, you exclude something and be exclusive. But the Bharata civilization taught us to be inclusive, that you include, that is, you have sense as well as sentiment. You have a rational approach as well as you have a religious perspective. You have realism as well as idealism. So there is a blend. So there's a balance of the two. Similarly, do you have science or spirituality? You have both. You don't have this or that. You have this and that. So between the Occidental as well as the Oriental perspective, you see, the Oriental perspective, in that more specifically the Bharata civilization perspective, has a concept of balancing the two, has a concept of involving the two in all this. So whenever you have questions, and you have questions can lead to multiples of answers. The beauty of our civilization is the ethics, the value of our civilization is where we bring in both these. So there's a perspective. When you have a railway track, you see a railway track. Do they meet? No, the railway track is meant to be apart. Only then the train can run on the two rails. That's why it's called a railway track. Similarly, but if you stand on a railway track and see for a mile or two, what do you see? At some point in the distant far area, you will think that they meet, actually they align together. They are actually aligned to each other. They run parallel, but in your visual perspective, they actually meet at some very distant point, isn't it? Like that, all the perspectives of these and more, we have just listed a few of them here for your easy understanding. But this and more, all of them are intertwined. They're all balanced. That is what we'll see on the next half an hour. It's the beauty of our civilization. And when we talk about this, see, when a civilization works hard, gets to prosperity, which happens to many civilizations,
and which had happened to the Bharata civilization for many millennia, across many millennia, there was a lot of prosperity.
So when that happens to the civilization, Bharata civilization, what you see is very clearly, when prosperity happens, the first thing is either you can go towards cultural vibrancy, can be culturally vibrant, or you can go towards decadence. As we can see today, many civilizations, many nations, many societies in the world have unfortunately gone towards decadence. So a prosperity, a rich society, a rich community, a rich family, a rich group of people have got two paths to take. One towards cultural vibrancy, one towards decadence. If you look at the Bharata civilization, it's always chosen cultural vibrancy or decadence. Where the ethos is not there, where the value is not there, where the moral is not there, embedded in the nature, that is what we call dharma. That is not there. It generally nosedives into decadence. So what you need is that uplifting, that holding, that bearing. The idea of dharma is to bear you. That's why dharti bears us. So that is important for us to get to cultural vibrancy. The beauty of our civilization has always been this. We should remember that when you say Bharata civilization, in the case, whenever we get prosperity, we are moved towards cultural vibrancy, whereas others who don't have these moorings move towards decadence. It happens repeatedly. It's happened 100 times over in the last few millennia. It's going to continue to happen. But the intelligences, what we saw the earlier, no, this or that, that or this, when you saw the earlier slide, when you saw this or that, that or this, when you know that you're going to include, be inclusive, be intertwined, that is when you get to cultural vibrancy. So you can see how these two are very, very intertwined here. That is a beauty. So all of us being students, being academic people of knowledge, we should be able to guide our personal lives, our family, and our social lives towards this cultural vibrancy, which will keep us going towards further prosperity. Because decadence always takes you down the tube, takes you down the drain. So that is where we get to prosperity. It's a beautiful point.
So how did we allow ourselves to steer from prosperity into this cultural vibrancy? And that is what we have to find out. So that helps us stay prosperous all the while, at the same time, also be culturally vibrant and not end up sliding down. And that was the idea of a sense of balance. So why do you need a sense of balance? Why do you need balance at all? So we'll just share some things, a few thoughts with you from one of our books which we had written. It's called Staying Alive. And if you see here, see, we all are born, right? We all know there is a birth and eventually there is an end, which we call as death. And the fundamental aspect of life, as we know it, is breath. So the moment where you're born, there is breath and that's your life. You can continue to just breathe and just be till the time that breath goes off, which is death. So this is also life. But at the same time, we don't just stay like that. After we are born, we're just not lying still till we die. We do many activities, and the kind of activities that we do, which is our life actually. So depending on this quality, so where you peg and what kind of activities you do, you call it the quality of living. Between your birth and death, what all activities that you do, how high you can take it, that is your quality of living. And so it's about lifting yourself to live with purpose and means as well, means to achieve that purpose. So now when you say, okay, now let me live, I'm going to live a life. I'm not just going to just only lie and keep breathing, but I'm also going to do many activities. Now there are various extremes, stands that you can take. One, you can say that I'm going to stay attached to life all through and be very, very cautious, protect this life, not do anything different, not dare, not risk, not do anything that can endanger or bring in some amount of risk. The other thing you can say is, oh, I'm going to stay so detached that I won't let anything come near itself to cause any risk again. So in that case, what you are looking at is, one, you can live with fear and cowardice and not do anything at all, in which case you're not using your potential. The other thing is, you can just withdraw away from everything and say, I don't want anything to do with whatever is there in the world, in which case you're not living to the life's potential, what the world itself has got to offer. So there are two extremes. And in between, living between these, is what is called a life of purpose and means. And how high you take it gives you that much of magnanimity, that much of greatness, and greatness of mind, soul, ability to face so many aspects in life. So this is what is about striking a right balance in living. And look at this, by nature itself, there is balance in this universe. See, we have something in time which we call past, right? So that is one extreme. It's already done. On the other side, we have something which we call future, which is yet to come. But nature, look at it. There is something which is the now, which is the present, which is lying between these two. And it's in a beautiful balance. So this balance you see already in nature. There are two contrasts and you have this in between. Similarly, you have something which you say is bad, totally bad. This is totally good. Neither of them, they're both utopic. But what happens is what is destined to happen or what can happen. And therefore, that is the right. Because that is what eventually happens. Likewise, you see, there is total darkness. In darkness, can you see anything? No, you can't see anything. You can't even see color. And again, light. Light is what it is, just light, brightness. That is what is light. So in just brightness, can you see anything? No, you need color in between, which is between dark and light. That is when you see the world full of all these different colorful objects. So this color is naturally there as a balanced aspect between dark and light. Again, you have a balance between left and right. You automatically have a center. So you can see that by nature, there is lot of balance in the world. There are always two extremes and there is something which is a in between, and which is a point of balance. Now, how has this civilization understood this, depicted it for people to see, to understand, to relate to keep it in their minds? So, this civilization has been a civilization which has worked on metaphors. So, using symbols, using icons, and picturizations, images to inform and keep us constantly reminded of certain aspects. And one of them to show this kind of a balance has been the Ashwini divinity, the twins called Ashwini twins. So they have been a symbol for the divine balance in creation. So in many, many, many aspects, you will find this concept of Ashwini shining through. And they're also called Ashwini, or they're also called Nasatya. So Nasatya is another name, and that name actually gives us a lot more clue about this aspect of balance in the universe. So, for instance, when you say Nasatya, so you have the word Satya, which is true, Sat. Then you have a word which is Asat, which we normally say is untrue or not real or not correct. So, but in Indian thought, we have a different aspect, a different way of also looking at what is untrue. So, when we say it's untrue, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It only means that it is a limited existence. It is a perceived existence. It is your perceived understanding. It is not that this understanding is not there. The understanding is there, but it is not the complete. It is not the whole. It is not the truest understanding. That is what asatya actually means. So when you say a lie also exists because the lie has come out. So untrue is also there. Untrue is not there. Untrue is also there, but the true is also there. And between this untrue and true is where you have to strike a balance. That is why you call Ashwini na asatya. So na satya. See, you could have always called Ashwini if it is to be not untrue. Na asatya. Asatya is untrue. Not untrue. You could have very well said Ashwini is true. You could have said Ashwini is satya. But no, you're calling it na asatya, meaning not untrue. To say that untrue is also there. So it is very much, one of the common easy examples is about the sun. So we are all sitting here. If I give you a piece of paper and ask you to draw a sun, all of you will draw a circle. Some will color it orange, some will color it yellow. Some may give 8 lines, some may give 16 lines, some may just give, scribbles around it to show radiance. Now, and then you go out and you look at the sun, you also see a white sun in the sky. Sometimes you see it orange when it is about to set. And you see it like a round. And you see it only of a particular size, as big as the moon. But is all this the sun? No, because none of us have ever gone to the sun. Even all this James Webb and so many other telescopes that are there, which give you so much of information about solar flares, composition of the sun, saying that sun is a star, it has this much mass, it is this much size. All that is still some amount of calculation. It is our perception. What the real sun is, only if ever we go and land there will we ever know. So this is a beautiful concept of Sat versus Asatya. So what the real sun is what is the Sat, that is the true. And what we have imagined it, what we understand the sun to be is the Asat. It is an untrue, it is a limited truth. And between these two is where we have to find the balance, which is why we call them the Ashwini twins. And therefore, this denotes that there is both the truth and the perceived truth, and it has to be a twinning of both of these. Because if you say that I am going to realize the Sat, then you are not going to be you. You are going to be somebody else, something else. Because as you cannot go to the sun to realize what the sun is. So there itself you have lost your identity. You are not you. So the Sat also cannot happen with you as you. And the Asat is not really giving you the true picture. So where do you bring in these two contrasts and how do you twin it to create a balance where you can live as yourself? And now comes the more interesting thing. So Ashwini, we have said, is a twin. Now look at this picture for Ashwini. Ashwini twins. What face have we given the Ashwini twins? We have given it the face of a horse, body of a man, but face of a horse. Why did we choose the face of a horse? Why couldn't we put a cat or a fish or a lion? Why did we choose a horse of so many animals? Because even in this, so showing you as twins itself is a metaphor to say that there is a twinning and there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a interwoven aspect. The inclusiveness has to be there with a balance. At the same time, you give a face of a horse. And this horse also tells you something.
It's very beautifully when you speak about the idea of horse. Uh, what you're, I'm sure many of you have seen horses, at least in YouTube films and films, if not in person in Trichy. What is it you see? What is it you think of when you see a horse? The way it can trot, the way it can go. So, what does it do? If you see, it's got a sense of balance. Because only when it has that sense of balance, it can run so fast, it can carry somebody on it. So, horse always denotes a sense of balance. Very important point to note. That's what it is. So, and it's got an alternate step, and the speeds are adjusted in a horse. That's the beauty of it. And see, it's all about twinning. The twinning, very important. When one leg goes, others follow. So, this is very specific of horse. So, the way we walk, the way a horse trots, what we call in horse is trotting. It's all about, we also have this walking for advancement, walking a sign of progress that we show that.
So, actually, if you look at it, when you say balance, a human is balanced on his feet. Anything is balanced on its feet. A table is balanced because of its feet. So, feet denote balance. So, balance means automatically you think of feet, something that will hold it firmly on the ground. And for feet, the classic example is a horse because its feet are, the movement of its feet are the best example of rhythm, of balance, of beauty, of gait. So many things come in the aspect of a horse's legs and it's the movement of these legs.
Now, if you see the names that we are given in the English language for each of these animals, what we call cows, the family of cows, we call it bovine. What do you call cats? You call it feline, isn't it? You call cats as feline. And what do you call dogs? Canine. Of course, feline is also for tigers, for lions, for big cats, small cats, all that. And what do you call dogs and all that? You call them canine. That's why if you have sharp teeth, what do you call our teeth? Canine teeth, isn't it? And if you call for pigs and porcupine, mullam mandri as we call in Tamil language, all this, what do you call it? Porcine. You call it, isn't it? You call it porcine here. So sorry, these are the different terms: bovine, feline, canine, porcine. But when it comes to a horse, what do you call it? Equine. That's why if you look at the national sports or Olympic sports, the when you play swimming and in a swimming pool, what do you call it? You call it aquatic because aqua, waters, you call it aquatic sports. Similarly, when you play with horse, what do you call it? You call it equestrian. Equestrian, meaning it comes from the word equine. Equine,
Equus.
which comes from the word equus, meaning equal. Look at this. So we are both in the Bharata civilization thought, as well as in the Greek and later on into the European civilization thought. What have we called horse as equine, equal, equestrian? So it's very interesting that it fits the both the ancient thoughts of the world, both Indian Bharata and what we call in Sanskrit language as the Yavana thought. Yavana, that is Greek thought. Both of it horse as equine.
As a object for balance.
Balance.
For equal. So if it is equal, then immediately the world, ancient world, seems to have thought of horse.
For balance too, because you need good balance. So obviously it has thought of that. Very clearly thought of that as balance. So look at the beauty of it. Now, having said this,
and this is what you actually get to see even in the sky. This is a very beautiful phenomenon that you see in the sky, which is also associated with this idea of balance and the horse. So if you look at the sky, we all know that there are 27 stars in the zodiac belt, right? And of these 27 stars in the zodiac belt, one of the stars is called Ashwini. And it's called the Ashwini twin star and so on. I mean, for the Ashwini twin Devata, it's ascribed to the Ashwini twins. Now, this particular star is there in the first zodiac, Aries zodiac. And it will be interesting that in this, when the earth and the moon are aligned against this, and when the sun is aligned actually with these stars, with the Ashwini, the earth, sun, moon complex system, these three system, earth, sun and moon, whenever they are aligned along with Ashwini and the star Chitra on the opposite side. Look at it, there is a star Chitra on the opposite side, which is in the Virgo and also in the Libra constellation. Now the Chitra in the Libra constellation, how do you show the Libra? You show it with a balance. Libra is scales, right? Tarasit. So look at it in the sky. On the two constellations, the stars which are opposite each other, they are both denoting a sense of balance. One, you have Chittre, which is showing you balance because it is part of the Tula or the Libra. And on this side, you have Ashwini, exactly opposite, which is Ashwini. Ashwini also stands for this balance, stands for the horse as well. And even more interesting is, when the earth, sun, moon gets aligned in this direction between Ashwini and Chitra, that is when you have the equinox as well. The vernal equinox in spring, March, and also the autumnal equinox in September. And what is equinox? Equinox is the time when the day and night are equal. So the sun is at the equator and you have the day and the night hours are exactly equal. Isn't it such a beautiful aspect of balance that you're seeing even in the sky? The stars with which you are correlating, I mean, fundamentally first, the place in the Earth's orbit where the equinox occurs happens to fall exactly in alignment with stars that are denoted with balance. See, the aspect of the calling this a Libra is not a random association. It is called a Libra because the stars, they look like a Libra. They look like a scale, a triangle like a scale. So visually, they look like a scale. So that is why you have called them Tula. So this is how you're seeing that Ashwini has stood for balance, a balance which we even see in the sky. And it is something to do, which is a symbol for twinning of two aspects and striking a balance between these two aspects. And if you see the word for scientists, see, one of the main questions was, should you be spiritual or scientific? That was one of the questions, right? A dilemma. The word for scientist in Sanskritam and in Indian languages is Ashvinav. And why did they give the word Ashvinav to a scientist? Because actually, if you go back all the way, even to a text which is called the Ishavasya Upanishad, it will tell you that you cannot approach anything only from a rational angle or only from pure logic or science. At the same time, you cannot approach anything from only spiritual or just faith or
alone. You have to have both. It's an intertwining of both is what Ishavati says. So like that, we have a short film on it. Also, we can show it if you want. So like that, everything is all about twinning and balance of the twinning. Because you can do twinning, but the twinning has to be balanced also. That is the beauty of. So science is balanced. Our life is balanced. And the various questions we are asked in the beginning, the first slide, that the answers are also balanced. So everything is balanced. So the ethos, the value of the Bharata civilization is all about getting to a good balance in life. That is absolutely essential. So it is not this or that. Because in many other parts of the world, many other thoughts of the world, they'll say exclusive, it's only my way. Whereas in our civilization, it is both. It is that way and this way. Together, clubbing together, intertwining together, bringing about a balance in the intertwine is what it is. So science is all about that. Spirituality is about that. Ethos is about that. Values is about that. Moral is about that. That is what is dharma. When you say dharma, dharma brings about that innateness in us, which is all about, again, balance. That is the beauty of it. You want to show you that?
And so while we go towards that dharma, understanding that dharma, this Ashwini, besides science, also shows you something in your own physical existence.
See, when we speak about good health, when we speak about Ayurveda in good health, what do we say? Very important quotation we say. Hita ahara, mita ayasa. Mita ahara, hita ayasa. And most of you being students, you'll be able to appreciate this. It means, it speaks about affordable food. Don't need to have extravagant food, which are very costly or something, it is not affordable. And along with that food, have appropriate exercise. Along with the affordable exercise, you don't have to go to gym. To do your proper exercise by yourself itself is sufficient. Along with that, appropriate food. Don't eat food that is not agreeable to you. So look at that affordableness and appropriateness between food and your exertion. Exercise is a complementary nature. It's a twinning nature. That is what gives good health. So look at all the good health is all about what? Striking a balance between health and living. That is activity. So what is that? That's called sama. So that's all about balance, isn't it? Samajam is all about equal. It's all about balance. Look at the word sama. That's why in English, the word sama is explained as same.
Similar.
Similar. Look at the English word similar and our Indian Sanskrit word sama. It's all equal. Tamil word also is samam. Look at that. So it's all about balance. So in the language also, you have this very clearly. So you have to balance your food intake and your activities. Hitahara, mitayasa. Mitahara, hitayasa. And it's a diet lifestyle balance. It's a rest and work balance, nourishment, treatment, prevention and cure. Look, all that is, everything is balanced. And that's a beauty of the absolute balance in every aspect of life. And look at this. If you take medicine to the level you need to take the medicine, it is good. If you take the same medicine beyond what you should take, it's poison. The same tablet that you need to take, if you take one tablet, it's good for health. If you take 10 tablets, it's straight away poison. Like that, see? Sushruta writes about this very clearly about the balancing of intake of food. So if a drug is not understood properly, it's comparable to poison. If a drug is not administered properly, it is dangerous. Even poison is converted into medicine if properly prepared. Good medicine will become poison if improperly administered. Look at this. Both Charaka And Shushruta speak about this in the idea of food, where you need daily balance of what you intake as food. Absolutely essential, isn't it? So Ayurveda speaks about this. That's why in Tamil we have a wonderful saying, isn't it? Marunde unavu, unave marundu. It's again about balance. If you don't know how to balance this, then your medicine will become a food, unfortunately, but of the modern tablet variety. So this is an extremely important point to note in our value ethos, because we can speak about value ethos at a very high level, but we thought we should need to bring it to the students at the level that we will understand, relate to, and apply in our lives. So that's why we thought we can take this topic and bring out where we can show you how we can apply it in our lives very easily and have the balance, that is the arogya. All this balance leads to what? Arogya, roga, that is ill health, aroga. So you, from illness you get to wellness. Look at even the word arogya comes from the word roga, ill health, arogya. So freedom from disease. That's very important. So arogyam, mahabhagyam. It's very important to have roga, aroga, and bhagyam, and how this. And what is the difference between illness and wellness? When you remove the idea of I and bring in the idea of we, you get wellness. If we don't understand that we all need to live together, we will have wellness. If you say I, me, myself, then you have illness. So that is an important aspect of we, us together, that lead to wellness. That's a balance. That's how you live together as a society as a whole. Very important point is what we thought we can bring forth for students to have this wonderful life structure.
So all this idea, so look at, so the point here is, in this civilization, in your day-to-day life, where all you can find, look at these signs of balance in our civilization, are all these many points. Every aspect of this shows you that balance. Now, how did we enforce this balance? And that is what we're going to see, especially in context with the I and the we. Okay. So there are few things over here that we have done as a society to ensure that we can have that balance. Because one thing you should remember, we have been a very, very prosperous society. Okay. We have never had to fight for anything. We have always had a lot of green, a lot of rain, and we have had to, been endowed with lot of good conducive situation that can produce wealth. Now, once you have that capacity for that wealth and you can produce the wealth, we can very easily go down the decline with just so much of wealth. So how did we bring in a sense of balance? And this is very important. We have all seen the statement dharma, artha, kama, moksha being the four fundamental principles. But look at this, and we all understand this to varied extents, varied degrees in our own personal ways. But look at this as a social model that our civilization had created. It is a model which is called the Rin model. Rin means debt. Debt. That means I owe. I am liable to give. So it has been a society which has always considered itself to be in debt, continuous debt. And debt to whom all? There are five aspects. Predominantly, there are many, many aspects, but five are very predominant. One is bhuta, that is nature, all the nature around us. So we are indebted to nature first, because that is what helps us. Even the very air we breathe, we need nature. So we are indebted to this nature, and therefore we have to do enough to keep this nature sustained. Then we have Nara Rin. So Bhuta Rin, then Nara Rin. Indebtedness to humanity as a whole, mankind as a whole. See, we saw from birth to death, if we have to move, do some activity, the first few years, even our mother has to support us, right? If she just gives birth to us, it's not enough. She has to look after us, nourish us, nurture us slowly, slowly. And I mean, immediate nourishment is from the mother. Then you have the father also nourishing and nurturing and bringing you up. Then you have the teachers. So the entire ecosystem is nurturing and helping us all flower, blossom. So we owe to each one of us in the society. So we have to do enough to keep all these people also sustained. People who are living with us today in society, in our civilization, in the world as such. Because if today I am drinking water, maybe this river is coming from some other country or some other place or some other hill, and the people there are looking after that water body. Therefore, that is why you're getting this water. So you're also indebted to them. So that way, the entire world, humanity as such, nararin, you owe to these people. Then the third is rishirin. So all this is happening because there is some knowledge which has been understood from nature. How do you know water is safe to drink? If you didn't know water is safe to drink, you would never touch water. Somebody has told you water is safe to drink. Somebody has said this rice grain is good to eat. This is how it should be cooked. This is how these pulses should be soaked and washed to remove extra toxins away and then cooked. So all these little bits of knowledge, they've come down to us. And that is the Rishi Rin. We owe that to the Rishis as knowledge, who have kept this knowledge system going, who have created and given us all this knowledge across generations. Then, so that is another end. So you have a debt towards education, knowledge, the ecosystem of keeping knowledge and content, information alive for everybody and disseminating it. Then you have the next rin, which is Pitra rin, which is about your ancestors. So you're indebted to the lineage of ancestors who have kept customs and traditions and everything alive, so that today you're able, one, they have actually given you life by having the gene itself being passed on. Through the genes, the traits being passed on, the good traits being passed on, and the process itself eliminating the bad traits and the weak ones. So this Pitra Rin, which stands for the gene, which stands for the customs, the tradition, all of this lineage of all of that, you owe to keep that alive as well. So which means that you are also indebted to create progeny to keep that gene alive. That is a bigger rin. When you say Pitra rin, is also means to create progeny so that that ancestry and that gene line stays alive, and mankind as a whole is alive. So that is also another rin. And finally, Deva rin. So beyond all this, to recognize that there are forces beyond all of this also, that which you can see, feel, touch, and perceive. Even beyond that, there are forces, and you are indebted to all those forces also, because they steer and shape the evolution of the entire universe and whatever is happening. That consciousness which is evolving and which is actually shaping the evolution. So these are the various rins. So when you have prosperity, it is not yours. All the wealth is not yours alone. It is to be shared with the Bhuta, it is to be shared with the Nara, it is to be shared with the Rishi. When you say Rishi, it means the education. So all this wealth that you are earning has to go to sustain each of this, sustain the ecology, sustain humanity, sustain knowledge, sustain mankind, race, the genealogy, the tradition, culture, and also sustain spirituality, because that's the only medium that can let you connect with the Deva. So all of this, whatever you earn, you have to use it for this, and that happens. So when you have an income, So you're getting some wealth. But if you know that that wealth is not yours, it is to be given away, it is to be given away as debt, then there is nothing left in your hand. So you are the same at all times, and therefore no arrogance of being rich, and you have to constantly strive to create more and more to keep that prosperity alive, so that you can continuously keep settling your debts. So this is the beautiful Indian model of creating a balance for the amount of prosperity and wealth that anybody can generate. So generate prosperity, but be aware that this has to be used for all this, which is why in Indian civilization, Bharata civilization, it was not wrong to make wealth. It is not wrong to make profits, but we use the profit wisely, and that is why we used to call it Shubha Labham. Shubha Labham is what we called it. And therefore, it's been a idea where it's a civilization where we have focused on giving rather than taking. So the Indian ethos, if you really look at it, just to conclude, I think, because already I can see it's 2:45 and all the students will have to leave. We'll just show you some few points which make this civilization different. So look at it. We have lived with the ethos of focusing on action than the reward. So let us do what we should, keeping in mind all these rinds, and not for the sake of the reward that we are going to get. If you can settle the rinds, that is the biggest reward. Focus more on your duty than on the rights. Focus more on good turn than on return. More on giving than on taking. More on others than on self. So we always have something, we say, Paropakarartam idam shariram. So like he said, the illness and wellness. So when you focus on the we, you are never ill. So give more on others, more on service than as a chore, more on happiness than on comfort alone, conservation than on consumption, villages than on cities, human values than on economic values, moral and then technical, preventive versus curative, small ecological footprints than large economic blueprints. So each of this, they're all very different paradigms. And therefore, if you look at it, the way the Bharata civilization has organized its family, society, education, healthcare, all of this is where you will see this balance coming through, this paradigm shift, which is more on a sense of balance. And that is what has shaped the entire Bharata civilization. So this is, in short, it's a lifestyle model which is very different from what the world is following today. But this is the innate model of the Bharata civilization, and that is what is the dharma. That is the natural idea, the thought, the behavior, the character of the civilization.
So we thought in the last close to 1 hour, we could bring out these wonderful aspects of our civilization, its values, its balance, its intertwining, and its connect with each aspect of life. We need to conclude the session. And thank you once again for giving us this opportunity for bringing out these various facets of our civilization knowledge.
I'm also extending my gratitude to our resource persons, Dr.D.K.Hari sir and Dr.D.K.HemaHari for sharing many insightful information like Ashwini gets balance of universe, how balance is essential to life, importance of affordable food and appropriate exercise, and affordable exercise and appropriate food, importance of ecosystem and sustainability. Which helped us to gain knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Your simple words made a great impact on our understanding about Indian ethics and civilization. Once again, I thank you all.
It's a great presentation, and we are very happy to be connected with you. Thank you both of you for being with us and sharing all your thoughts. Sorry for the inconvenience caused.
Thank you.